Correct. That's fine too.
Seriously, a really big one. I have to begin the meeting,
Just open it, it's fine.
like and I have to make a motion for that.
No.
Okay, so I'd like to open the finance committee meeting. I'll take attendance, or is that okay if or do you want to? How do I do it? Okay, Mrs. Weber McLeod.
That
And Miss Karen
Here, Walter.
Walter.
Yes.
And Mrs. Tracy Verrier.
I'm here.
All right. So did you want to start with the finances then? We'll just go like on the agenda.
So what I sent out, it includes, I did get the Shimon bank statement today, so I'll send that to you.
Oh, okay.
But, there shouldn't be anything too relevant on there. So what I sent it's both our regular monthly financials, but I also did the couple of year-end entries that needed to get done for the audit. The one entry was just accruing depreciation, so you can see that our depreciation went up. It was like $1,000, a little over $1,000. So our depreciation increased, or maybe 1,900. There's a 1 and a 9 in there. But our depreciation is, oh yeah, 1,900, it's right here. It is recorded, so that is, let me share this one so you can see it.
you're gonna share, Trey?
Yeah, I'm sharing right now, there we go.
I'm multitasking between my computer and this, but if I can see it, that's even better. Thank you.
You can see that the depreciation has been recorded for December, as of December 31st. Nothing else impacting the budget or the balance sheet. I'll talk about pilots separately, just to give you an update on where we are with that. But the balance sheet is pretty much where it's gonna be for the audit. And then for this report, this budget versus actual, that is helpful for talking about those entries. The two entries that I made are the depreciation, which is also an expense, so that shows up on the balance sheet. And then you'll notice that this 1285 moved from, so for the year, it's gonna show miscellaneous expenses 0. But we had an expense from a prior year that I needed to make an adjustment for, and the auditor said, just do it as a miscellaneous expense. And it'll offset, and it was under the marketing category. It was something that was, I think it was something that was double booked in a prior year. So there was a year-end entry to move that from miscellaneous expenses to marketing. So for year-end, it's gonna look like $513 of expenses for marketing, but really it was $1,700 for 2025 or for 2024. It's just that there's this offsetting $1,200 from the adjustment that had to be made to correct for a prior year entry.
And that was all website.
Yeah, that was related to the website. So, but that's pretty much it. A little bit of interest income, nothing else much happened in December. And then you can see here our final P&L. Questions so far?
Can we start on the balance sheet again? I just had a couple questions. The CD, when will they, so I don't think, so did we end up seeing like if they had like accrued interest
I
at
did
12/31?
It had, so it actually accrued in October. I asked her for a statement. There was an accrual in October. That's this 9/28/19. So we had set up the CD at $75,000. After the beginning of the year, I asked her for a statement so that I could get it to the auditors. And there had been an accrual in October, but not in the third one.
So where did the offset to the 928 go? Is it, so if we did, because it was 75,000 for the CD, and then, so you added 928, and then did it offset to like did they give you a bank, like, did it go through interest?
Yeah.
So you know, like you would like, debit and credit.
Yeah, so it's interest income. But it's not showing up in December because it technically was in October,
Oh, okay. Oh, but is it in the,
but it would be in the.
is there totals? Okay, all right.
Which is, oh, it's at the bottom, sorry.
Other interest income. Okay, so there's
Yeah, interest
2570.
income, That.
Okay.
That 985 is within this 25.
And then that will mature in February.
I believe it is in February, yeah.
Um,
So that was like a half layer accrual, it sounds like.
so, yeah, so that's great. Okay, so then I bet you don't even have any audit adjustments then, because that was only. I mean, if you do, it's okay. It's not gonna be a big deal. And then I wonder for the fixed assets, if they'll have a breakdown, because it's by next year, it looks like it'll practically be fully depreciated. So are there things that we should expect to have to buy?
The only thing that's depreciating right now, I do have a schedule. Here. The only thing that's depreciating right now is the website.
Oh, okay.
So that's.
So what is the furniture and equipment?
That's like, we had some filing cabinets and some computers.
Oh, is that
And
overhead?
it's all entirely depreciated.
Is that over at 2 State Street?
The filing cabinets are at 2 State Street. There's some other stuff that we wrote off it.
I wonder in the audit committee if that's something that we ask them to look at. Like we definitely have everything that's listed on there as fixed asset.
Yeah, I think we wrote off. We have our. Let me just pull up the depreciation schedule.
I'm just thinking about your. Oh, you have the actual depreciation schedule. Okay, that was the 309, I think it's the land.
I gotta make this smaller than. Do we still have the cabinets? We got rid of the camera because anyways.
I'm like, do you think it's a Polaroid, like an original Polaroid?
It's a Kodiak, it's demanding.
Was it really?
No.
Oh,
It was like, it was a film camera.
$300 back in the 1980s.
So this camera, printer and slide projector, and she do still have. Oh, no, that was. But yeah, a bunch of the stuff we kind of got rid of, everything except the filing cabinets, so we probably should write off or get rid of the rest of the stuff, it's all fully depreciated.
So as the audit committee, did they do, or is that something we do in the finance committee?
Finance committee can make a recommendation,
Okay,
I think that's probably.
I mean, it's immaterial, I'm sure, but.
So to go back to see the land, the Italian property, at 222 or 2001. That is probably the property that's on Case Haven property. You're trapped.
Do
That's
we,
the worst tradition.
do we? So do we have to just confirm, we definitely, like, would they have surplus those? The piece of equipment, or does, because it's a material, does it matter if we just like clean it up and recommend to? It's not really big, okay. It's really small, you know, it's, it's not a big
Well,
deal.
no, I mean, it does add up to a lot of money for stuff that's like obsolete and for existence, so. It's about half the whole. So I think what we can do is like, maybe this committee makes a recommendation to the full board to make the adjustments to get these off the books, however it is appropriate. And then I can work with the auditors on that.
Okay, that's what I was just thinking, if whether it's an audit adjustment or something, just get it cleaned up.
Yeah, and I can ask them how they want to do it, and I can keep it true and look at us. Like,
Yeah,
they're not gonna like.
it's not gonna be a
Yes.
write-up, yeah.
Would you send us a copy of that? You changed it, because I just think that it's so good. And with some of those properties should be. Market. So like, so I don't know what the land is, like, what's the land tech, or what is the land for 128?
Oh, you think it's more than?
I don't know.
What?
Because we only, right now, we have the 14, like the 14 now, and then the other property in Tech Park. We only have 2 properties in Tech Park right now.
Right.
And I think you told me before, what are the closing costs? I know they're on the depreciation schedule, but.
Those are the things that have just been like laying down sheet forever. And the others have been kind of like.
Okay. Yeah, I know, it's like, like, I'm not trying to be nitty gritty about like cleaning up stuff, but I guess because we're like at this point where it's like, oh, we're at a good point, so. And then I think I have another. So coming in. It'll be essentially about, a negative $40,000. That's what'll go against net assets.
Yeah.
But I think, a lot of good things coming ahead.
I just remember one of the deals I was hoping for 2026.
Wow, that's really projected. Oh,
I mean, it was like a 2 to 3 year development timeline, so that's why it was projected for 2026, but. Well, so it doesn't affect 2025. That's good. But.
well, just room for more things. That was all, those were the only questions I had on the financials, just to see how far we wanted to go with year-end adjustments, but it looks like, I mean, either way, we're at those are pretty good numbers too.
Do you want to make a recommendation for the board to clean up for the fixed asset schedule?
Yeah. So it would be the camera printer and slide projector.
Everything except the website and the file. Their sign. We'll end up with, so it's. You should never leave. So I think right before I think it was probably 2021. And we came over here and I went in the closet and was like. Oh,
The
this is
closet. And then, maybe we'll just ask the auditors what they want to recommend for the closing costs. Kind of like how they recommended that we pay off the debt. Like, I wonder if they have any kind of recommendation of what we do with the closing costs.
Yeah, I don't think that's a cash situation at this point. So it might be simple adjustment. It's just like, it's been there probably since one of the property transactions happened. I don't think it's actually, yeah. Let's see there.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm just saying like something that they could recommend, like, I don't know if we have to do something with it right now until we get more information on it. So if they recommend that we get rid of it, then we think about that next year. Or if they want to make it an audit adjustment, I guess, but yeah, those were my only questions on the financial reports. Did everyone, or did anyone else have any questions?
Tracy, it looked like the year end. There was that deficit of, was it like $39,000 or something? We were predicting that we would have a loss at the end of the year, correct?
Lost 27,000.
Can you speak into that speaker a little bit more for me, Trace? You're mumbled when you're coming through.
Sorry, is that better?
Much better, thank you.
I'm off to the side of the
Yeah.
microphone. So we were projecting it, that the budget had a $27,000 loss,
Got it. Yes, okay, I see, yeah.
39.
Mhm.
Probably a good portion of that is that your administrative costs are higher with.
Right.
when he came in than they were with CETA.
Got it.
And we wrote off the fine, or the penalties
Mhm.
this year for, like, we had to clean up the prior year. Wasn't
Right.
that what penalties were?
Yeah, so. There's still some penalties, but they're all on the balance sheet. They're all in due to government. None of that would be reflected here.
But the fines and penalties of about $5,900.
Oh,
Wasn't that right off from the prior year?
So this is actually what's still out there for the county, who has not yet determined, so this is still a payable right now.
Oh,
So this
okay.
is what they were going to be,
Oh, we haven't gotten that back yet from the county.
right, so they were gonna review it at their next meeting, which is what Rob said at our last board meeting, so they'll probably review it this month. And they've got a couple big checks from us in the meantime, so hopefully that. I don't think any of them know that, honestly, but. So yeah, those are the county fees that haven't been waived yet. So this could very quickly turn into a $34,000 loss. So we'll see where that lands after their meeting.
Okay,
But it'll be closer probably to the end of January before we find out.
gotcha.
Tuesday.
But we could adjust that even if they find out.
Yeah, so I think what I'll probably do is if they do notify us, because our actual audit date isn't until February 17th. So if we find that out in the meantime, I can just like let them know this is what happened and just make sure they're good with either clearing it off the books
At
now.
December 31st, yeah.
instead of waiting until. Or instead of having to try to adjust it in 2025. Based on when the request was made, maybe. And thus accrued. I don't know. But yeah, so
The
hopefully we'll find out
realization
that in
of
January.
Yeah,
Okay,
that was just my wanting to reconnect with what our intention was for the budget, and I see where we are and I understand why. Thanks, Trace.
Yeah, so I mean, really between that 5,900 and being over by about $7,000 on your budget for your contract services, that more or less makes up
Right,
where we are here.
yeah, makes sense. Cool.
And then the other thing I had in here was just a transaction report for December. Some pilots got dispersed, came in and got dispersed, so that's so you can see this was a pilot, all of these pilots came in.
Mhm.
And they got dispersed here. And then you can see some bills that came in and went out.
Mhm.
And then here are my year-end journal entries. And I think, did I include those as well? Yes, here are the 2 journal entries that I made for year end. So as I mentioned, one of them is just reversing a prior entry I made to put that credit from a prior year into the correct account, and then accruing current year depreciation.
Okay.
And then this is our AR aging summary. This Bomir Plastics is the admin fee, that we'll get at closing. I did have a conversation or an email exchange with them today. They're still waiting on their lawyers first to review, so that should be closing soon. And then we did get all of the pilot payments except for Max Studios and Seminary Commons. And I did get the mail today too, and had not come in. Max Studios, we rebuild in December, so we might just want to talk about how we want to handle that, since they had to get rebuilt due to the city's change in assessment. Yeah, so we might want to just talk about how we want to deal with the late fees with them, but Seminary Commons, I think we need to issue a late fee at this point.
Or
Rem-
Matt,
Trace, remind me, Seminary Commons is what property or what company?
Seminary Commons is the property over on Seminary Street where the fire department is now. It's like the other
That's what
side
I
of the fire department.
Got it.
I'm not sure why theirs hasn't come in. They're usually pretty good. So we'll reach out to them, but I think that we need to issue them a late fee. As a reminder, Max Studios, the city determined that the assessment was incorrect and are making that adjustment. And they asked that we make the correction in our pilot billing to adjust for this year's payment, but also reimburse a portion of last year's payment because the assessment was too high on the new building. That new bill just went out in December, so so we should just think about whether we want to kind of say, okay, we'll give them 30 days from the time of the bill,
Yeah.
or if we want to go ahead and, I mean, it's not like they didn't know they were gonna have to pay it. It just got adjusted. But if they have like a monthly check writing schedule or something like that.
so in their, because I remember you had said everybody's pilot agreements can be different. So is theirs different and like any different than anyone else's, but theirs was the only one that the assessment correction affected?
They were the only one that got a different bill, a revised bill this year.
Is that
Everybody
typical?
else. Normally, we don't revise bills at all. We shouldn't be. We bill in October and nothing changes between October and January 1st. It was just an oddity that in doing their,
Like they were fighting back something and then it got resolved or something.
well, they were looking at all of their documents because of what they're planning for their business, and they noticed that their assessment is based on a square footage that is not the actual square footage of the building. So basically what happened is they originally said they were gonna build, I think it was 100,000 square feet, they only built 50, but the assessment got based on 100.
Isn't that wild? So with getting the property tax bills at the school district, then if an assessment changes, we have to make a change. It was a residential home. It was off 10,000 square feet that they had been paying and had no idea.
A residential home?
It was like, it had like the whole comma, because they were saying that their basement
Yeah.
counted as something.
Oh.
I don't know, it's wild. I'm like, I don't know. This is what, and they went back 3 years.
Can I ask a clarifying question? So when you're talking about how we want to address, I think the late fee for Max Studios, could you say more about that? I want to follow your thinking.
Yeah, so typically, if we don't get a payment that is postmarked by January 1st.
Yeah.
We issue a late fee.
Right.
Max Studios was, and I don't feel strongly either way about this, but they
Right.
did get a revised bill due to this assessment change in December.
Right,
So my question is just, do we want to give them a 30-day window to make that payment based on when they received the last, or the revised invoice, or do we want to just go ahead and issue the late fee?
I am not uncomfortable giving them a little bit of a grace period. Because, I'm just saying this, ladies, if you don't agree, that's fine. Because when did the revised bill get issued to them?
Was precisely. Sorry, I should have pulled this up. December 5th. So theoretically, if they got it out in the mail in the last couple of days, I would feel like if it comes in tomorrow.
Mhm. I'd say, Tracy, I might encourage you just to, I mean, this is my thinking about this, is to maybe just check in with them.
Yeah.
To let them know that the finance committee met, that it would typically be our practice to issue a late fee, but given when they receive this bill, if they have the payment to us within a time that you get to decide, then we would consider not doing that. If it's beyond that, then it just makes sense to do it. Because if it sounds like the issue was just something that they were being billed more than what they should have been. Is that what I'm understanding?
Correct.
So yeah, I don't feel opposed to that. I don't think that is setting a dangerous precedent for us. But that's just my opinion. What do you think, Karen and Tess?
I agree. Just have the communication, give them a chance to pay within like a month. I mean, which would be by the end of this week, really.
That's what I'm thinking, yeah.
But
Because
I'll
it's
just
been
reach out to
30
them
days
and let
since
them know.
they've received the bill. But I'm just saying, let's just check in with them, right? I don't know what their check cutting situation is or whatever. And I think, by the end of this week seems like a reasonable amount of an extension. And then we'll just be in alignment with our policies and practice.
How many more years do they have? Do you know? If you don't have it, I just didn't know.
I think it's a. They have another 5 years.
Oh,
So. Think about this, just since we're talking about the pilots.
I only have one falling off. Carolina Eastern bound.
Yeah, Caravelle is coming off soon. So this is where we are with our pilot invoice or our invoice and disbursement. These are the two we have not received. We did, so all these 1-3s, I picked them up on 1-3, but they were all postmarked prior to that. They were all postmarked in December. So I'm considering those to be on time.
Are we supposed to do it based on the postmark or when we pick it up? I forget, what is the 30 days?
When we receive it.
So
I do it by when I get it. Because we don't mail is mail. It can take.
I said, no, if they had to do smarts, so the stock.
So speaking of mail, there's a pilot payment from November to the school district that is still floating out there in the mail system right now. So
Oh.
I'm gonna call the post office and figure out how to.
It's in the mail system or we haven't?
So it got some certified, and.
Oh, okay.
So
I was nervous that we had it, we hadn't deposited yet.
it has not been delivered.
Oh, from November?
So just know that you have a check out there and it was dispersed. It got lost in Syracuse, I think. Stuff has to go to
you
Syracuse
nailed
and
it
come
here.
back. But anyways, that's beside the point. So you can kind of see what's going on here. These payment, or these ones that we received will get dispersed. We have that on the agenda, or we'll put that on the agenda for the board to review at the January meeting, and we'll get them out shortly thereafter. If these two come in the meantime, we'll also put those on the agenda, which would be lovely. I would love that.
All right. I get it. Thank you.
So we're in good shape. We're in pretty
Yeah,
good shape.
we really are.
But I think that's all I have on the financials.
For the man, how much did he have to reimburse him? From right now?
Isn't it like 10,000 something?
Let me see. Let's see. Let's see.
It was. Are you good at math?
Oh, wait, were you talking about the?
So for 2023, it was 1,500, 2,500, about $3,300 that we had to or credit them for 2023. And then the reduction in the amount was probably something very similar.
Oh, you have that right there, payments received under January.
Yeah, I do still have it on the invoice.
Well, and then it was sent December 5th, yeah, I don't know, we'll just see, like.
Yeah.
so I can
If
touch base with
if it's
them.
like in queue to get printed. So yeah,
And I think the thing when we're looking at situations like this is just to make sure that we're not making a decision that would set a precedent that we don't want to live with, right? This feels fair and reasonable to me, given this scenario. So I'm comfortable with us calling Trace just to sort of check the status. And then you can discern at what point we need to act on our late fee policy in this particular case. Do we need to vote on that, or can that just be a
well, let's reach out, and then if we need to take any action regarding it, like I think the board, if we decide, if I contact them this week and they said, oh, it went out today.
Right.
And it comes in on Friday, then I think the board should probably take action to
Right.
say we're gonna waive that late fee because
Right.
it was paid within 30 days of when they received the correct invoice.
Right.
But right now, let's just, I'll do the outreach, I'll let you know how it goes, and
Okay.
if we need to make that recommendation to the board, we can make that recommendation to the board.
Cool.
Okay, so I think we're done with the financials.
Do we approve the financials here?
No,
We haven't done a finance.
I know, we took a couple months off.
All right, well, did everyone get a chance to read through the policies that Tracy provided? So we had chatted a little bit yesterday. There's a lot of like that boilerplate lingo in there. So I didn't see anything that stuck out. It was a nice refresher to go through the finance committee policy just to, just to stay focused on what we're gonna work on. One of the things that, and we can talk about this later if we need to go through each policy, but one of the things I would like to, if possible, establish the dates for the finance committee meetings. So I don't think that we have to meet every month, but maybe like, would we meet sometime like right after the audit's done? Should we meet with the state audit? Is that those things might take some consideration to go through, or do you want to start quarterly?
Yeah, I think quarterly will actually be fine.
Okay.
The state audit is really not focused on financial matters. With the exception of pilot invoicing and disbursement, the state audit is really more focused on how we're approving projects, how we're monitoring projects. So I don't think that there's a need necessarily to.
Okay.
They are looking at pilot invoicing and disbursement, but that's the only really financial matter that they're digging into. So I don't know that you'll need to meet with them at the
Okay.
finance committee.
Until so they'll guide us.
Yeah, I think they'll probably either meet with, or we'll have a discussion with the audit committee about that audit. But I don't know that the finance committee needs to necessarily be involved with that one.
Okay, so we'll just plan to meet quarterly for this year. I wonder if we should do like January and then April.
Oh, maybe.
Because then it gets us to meet again on just, like, it's good to meet like at year end, but like, obviously, we wouldn't have been able to review the December without getting through the end of December, so.
Yeah, so that would be January, April, July, October. And that keeps us away from the holidays, which is nice.
Nice.
So. So yeah, I'll just set those up, for the year. I'll schedule those for the year. The first Tuesday of the month. We had been meeting on Wednesdays. I don't know if you have any,
Oh, yeah, we still do Wednesday, or,
yeah, I don't personally care either way, so
um,
if you want to do the first Wednesday of the month for those 4 months.
well, I think, because that was part of my issue now, the other committee
Is on Tuesdays.
is on Tuesdays.
Does that work for you too? We'll put it on the calendar.
Yeah, as long as we get them to Sade, she'll just book them on my calendar, so.
First Tuesday at 5 p.m. I'll get the room booked and then I'll send out a calendar invite. To everybody, and then we'll be on for the year.
So we're going to Tuesday.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Wednesday.
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 My bad.
And I'm
Wednesday.
sorry, you say the first Wednesday? That way you said.
Yeah, I said first Wednesday at 5 p.m.
Perfect, we're gonna be ahead of the 4th of July too.
Yeah, we will. Okay. So just on the policies, there isn't a lot, so as Tessa mentioned, there's not a lot that we can actually change in these policies. In the procurement policy, at one point, we did make a slight change to give the board room to consider local procurement over low bid, so that's nice. But that's about as far as it goes. That's about the amount of wiggle room we have.
Is it like?
I mean, it's like if we were going to be doing like some kind of work at the industrial park, like if we were gonna hire someone to do like some landscaping or something, or some site grading or whatever, it would give us a little wiggle room to use someone local instead of someone from Syracuse. I think, but we do have in there like a cost differential to be responsible about it, you know.
Yeah, like a.
I think it was
best,
10%.
Like a, what is that? I think it was right in there, like a best standard or something.
Yeah, so I mean, typically speaking, our procurement has to be the lowest responsible bid. And then we provide ourselves with that little bit of wiggle room. I think it says within, if there's a local company, and it's within 10% of the lowest bid, we can go ahead and hire them if we want to. So I think that just gives, the board wanted to do that to give us a little bit of wiggle room to hire local contractors. Local procurement.
18, yeah.
So circumstance, yeah, here under circumstances justifying an award to other than the lowest cost quoted. These are all pretty standard, A through, so, sorry, I'm not sharing my screen. These A through F are all pretty standard, and the board added local procurement a few years ago, like maybe 5 or 6 years ago, as a consideration.
Right.
So
I like the wording, it may be in the best interest of the authority, whereas like what is that, sole source or something? I've been in conversations where people are just trying to stay away from things like that, but they didn't say sole source, so.
So yeah, I mean. That. I mean, I think these policies are in pretty good shape, unless there's anything that,
So all of the conflict of interest statements, everything that, as far as that goes.
Gwen Weber McLeod still needs to submit hers for the OS, the state office.
I think Karen Walters.
I'll unjam my printer and make it happen.
I think you still need to submit yours too. The
I just got back my
conflict of interest form. Yeah. So I've got about half of them. Still pulling them out.
There you go.
That's gotta be so tricky. Well, that's okay. I actually completed mine wrong, so. The first question, I thought it was like one of those like trick questions where it was like. Where? Cause
Not
what
a
did it
trick
say? Like,
question.
where did you work? Where did, not, it was, but it said like places of business or something. I'm like that I would have to report about something, but then I was like, oh, yeah. So I put none.
Because Tesla's not involved in anything.
So Tracy's like, oh, I'm gonna add some of those boards, you know, like where you work.
No, your place of
Yeah.
employment. So anyways, any questions? So yeah, any questions on the policies? Anything you think we need to address?
So can I motion to approve the policies?
I'll
To
second,
And
Recommend.
I'll second that.
so Gwen is the first. We'll need a second.
Second.
Thanks.
All opposed,
All in favor first.
all in favor,
Aye.
discussion, abstain. I'm like the worst at this one. I'm not
I think we got there.
moved.
We're
Passed.
picking up what you're putting
After
down.
all of that, motion passed. It's fine.
You got through all the things.
These will go on, so all of the policies from all of the committees are going on the agenda for the annual meeting this month. And basically, there'll be one resolution approving all of the policies per the recommendations of the committees.
So you're gonna have to add all of the policies to the agenda.
Yeah, the meeting packet's gonna be huge. So
Email.
just prepare yourself for that.
Just gotta find it. You got your 2025 binder ready. I did not. have anything else. Anyone else have anything, that they wanted to discuss? I have a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Like, all in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Yes, okay, we're adjourned. That went well.
Tess and, I just want to, Karen, I just want to thank you again for